It is New Year's Eve, so let's talk about my wishes for Wuthering Waves' 2026. My name is Juice, and let's get into it. Before we get into my 2026 wish list, I started this back when 2025 was about to happen, so let's quickly run over, did I get what I wanted for 2025? My first point, more male characters. While unfortunately we didn't get more, I did get Cho Yuen, who is currently my favorite Wuthering Waves character, yes, even after Luke was revealed. I absolutely love Cho Yuen, and I'm always more of a quality over quantity person, so I'm personally really happy with him. Now, I would still very much like more, and I would take more, but I will say I'm very happy with Cho Yuen at the very least. But unfortunately, on the whole, this wish was not achieved. Shorter boss respawn time did in fact happen. It is very, very quick now, and the main reason I wanted this was for 4-cost farming, and let me tell you, 4-cost farming went from miserable to really, really efficient and fast. So I appreciate them shortening the boss respawn time, and it's also just nice in general whenever you're doing your dailies and trying to farm boss materials for a character. We did in fact get build loadouts, and I've had quite a bit of fun with those, and I have a couple of loadouts myself. I'm pretty happy that we achieved those, and I can say for a fact, they have been very useful, especially considering how many game modes allow gear swapping. Another thing was better 4-star weapons. No, we basically just didn't get that. 4-star weapons are effectively dead in Wuthering Waves, but we did get a new collection of standard 5-star weapons, so we at least got that in terms of free-to-play friendly budget options. At this point, I have accepted we are not really going to get better 4-star weapons. Fine. I asked for better lore and world building. Now, I think most people would agree that we got that. I didn't play 2.7. I didn't really care about the second half of Renacita. Unfortunately, the story kind of lost me. And listen, if you like it, that's fine, but I just don't like harem. So I kind of didn't really care after a certain point. I did play Cho Yuen's quest, but other than that, I didn't particularly care. I did do Yuno's story as well. I thought her Resonator showcase trailer was pretty cool and serious, so I was like, okay, I'll give her story a shot, and I did end up liking it. So I did like some stuff from the second half of Renacita. Frolova's story was alright, I wasn't crazy about it, but it was decent, but otherwise, I wasn't really a fan. It was just a bit too disjointed for my liking. I wasn't really excited to find out what happens next, and I wasn't really invested in any particular character. 2.0 and 2.2, I absolutely loved story-wise, I thought those were very good, but from there, I just kind of lost interest. I did do the 3.0 Lahai Roy quest, it is a blank slate, I've given it a chance, and I do like it so far, but I'll have to see, are they gonna bring back old characters sooner than just a year later? Are they gonna be able to make an interesting overarching plot here? Is it going to be something more than just a harem? I'm gonna give it around the same amount of time, 3.1, 3.2 if they end up skipping story, and 3.1 because they did that back in Renacita 2.1, we got an event that time. Never gonna forget that one. May the gentle breeze bring you a bountiful catch! Anyways, so I will give it a chance, but for now I'm gonna say this was not achieved, for me personally, because it's my personal wish list, and I was not invested in the 2.x cast after a certain point. I liked Cho Yuen, and that is pretty much it. I don't really have any deeper connection to the Renacita cast, but I will say that the 3.0 quest was at the very least good, I am interested, and if they can manage to make an overarching plot with something interesting to look forward to each patch, then I will say this has been achieved. But for now, I still don't really think that we've gotten better lore and world building. I mean, to be fair, the lore itself has always been interesting. I suppose the better wording would be better story quests. Another thing is that I asked for a dedicated Chang Li support. Well, this is pretty funny because I don't think Brant was out yet when I made that wish, but we did end up getting Brant, and obviously later on we did get Lupa, who I didn't pull for. I was a fusion main back then, which is really funny considering how nowadays I complain about there being too many fusions, but I don't main Chang Li anymore, now I'm a Cho Yuen main, though I will always appreciate my Chang Li and the time that I spent with her being my main. She was really, really cool, and I still really like her, and we did in fact get that wish, so I'm happy about that. And then finally, I asked for better character interactions. I don't really think we got that. This links back into the story issue. Okay, if you like that Rover is the center of attention of everything, that is completely fine, and I don't have an issue with that. I think after a certain point, maybe the Wuthering Waves story just isn't for me, and that's okay too, but I'm really trying to give 3.0 a chance because it's a blank slate, etc, etc, but after a while I realized the 2.x style of story just wasn't for me. I don't really care about harem, and I'm a female player, so if they don't do it with the men, then I just kind of don't care. So ultimately, it kind of falls flat on me. And as for the other story elements, having really good cutscenes is great, but it doesn't really carry a story. I want the actual writing to be good. So with that in mind, I don't really think the story has been for me up until this point. As for the character interactions, I just want there to be more characters that talk to other playables. It's not really a major thing, and I do think the story can very much survive without this. It's not really a requirement in order for the story to be good. For example, the Forlova quest was pretty decent, and Forlova and Rover had very good interactions there. I actually thought their banter was pretty funny. So I honestly think there's two ways you can go about this. Make Rover a more interesting character, or make the playables talk to other playables more often and form relationships with them. For example, 2.7 Choyuwen quest spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I personally find it really cool that Choyuwen and Geshulin have some history. I actually think that's the Wuthering Waves plotline I care about the most at the minute. The stuff happening to Geshulin. He has connections with Jian. He has connections with Choyuwen. He actually has some presence in the world with other characters other than Rover, and I personally find that interesting. Now, if Rover is the main character to go and help him out, or do whatever it is that he needs help with, or defeat him, or whatever it is we're gonna do with Geshulin in the future, they're clearly bringing him back somehow, then I don't actually mind that. I have no issue with Rover being the center of attention. I need to make that very clear right now, but I do think it makes for a more living and breathing world when we get more stuff like what we got back in 1.1 with Jinshi and Chang-Li. Those two were teacher and student. That was really cool. I liked that, and I thought it was an interesting dynamic. And it's not like no characters know each other. We do have some dynamics in the game, but I don't really feel like we have enough. So I don't really think we achieved that, and most characters do mostly only have connections with Rover. I understand that for some people that's preferable, but it's my personal wish list, and I'm gonna say that's not preferable for me. On to the 2026 wish list. So, one of the things that I have wished for is an improved story. I'm not really going to rave on about it too much because I already kind of talked about my issues with the Wuthering Waves story. Just make Rover a more interesting character. I feel like that's all you seriously have to do, is make Rover more interesting, and then suddenly, him being the center of attention is not really so bad anymore. There's that, and give me a good overarching story to focus on. Give me something where, okay, this is what we're going to be up against, and I want to work towards that. I really like what 3.0 did, because I feel like it's going in that direction. I am going to start spoiling the 3.0 quest a bit from here on out, so I would skip to my next point if you're not interested in being spoiled on this. Alright, so, I really like how the Threnodian was introduced this time around. They look really cool, so that's one thing, but they are a genuine threat from the beginning. I feel like the whole Void Worm thing really helped set up how a Threnodian is genuinely a dangerous threat in Lahai Roi, and I can understand working towards beating that, and it actually is going to feel rewarding when we get around to that. Whereas, I just didn't really feel like that in Renacita. And listen, I understand that to some people this is the worst take in the world, and some people really disagree with me right now, because I understand that there is some big love for the Wuthering Waves story among some people. That is completely fine. I just want to emphasize I'm talking about my own opinions on the Wuthering Waves story here. I do want to like it. The production value is out of this world. The presentation is so nice. The music is really good. I just think the writing could be a little better. And 3.0 definitely did go in the right direction. I think Linny as a character was very well written. I liked her conflict. I liked that before making the school under attack, we connected to Linny so that whenever the school was under attack, it wasn't like, oh my goodness, the school is under attack, save it now. We were saving something that was important to another character, so that was nice. I do think that the actual character writing of Wuthering Waves has definitely improved, and I can see that, and I feel like that's going to be enough for some people, honestly. Good character writing is now present, and that's really good. I like that. Step in the right direction. Awesome. It has been good for a while now, honestly. I'd say since Forlova, they've managed to gain some consistency in that regard. I just want an overarching plot now. Something to focus on, patch by patch, that we're going to work towards, and I want to feel like we're making some kind of progression every quest. And maybe it was like that in Renacita, but it didn't really feel like that for me after a certain point. That's all I really want to say about the main story because I've talked about it so much, and I feel like you kind of get the point. I don't really like it as it is. I see the potential for it to be better than it currently is, and another thing is that I'm a PGR player, so I know that Kuro Games is capable of a lot more. They are really good writers, so I really do think that Wuthering Waves could be something amazing if they decided to lock in the way that they locked it in PGR. As of now, it's just decent, but it's nothing special. Another thing that is at least somewhat related to stories that I want them to bring back companion quests. I feel like they were just a fun time, and it's a nice way to give us character lore. For example, if their lore doesn't really fit into the main quest, you can just give us their lore in a companion quest. I'd like to say now this has no relation to 3.0, this is something that I've been feeling for a long time now. I like 3.0, I actually didn't really mind the presentation and execution of it or anything like that. I just more so think in general, it would be nice if we got more companion quests. One of the quests that I really enjoyed was Brant's companion quest, for example. It was fun to just hang out with Brant. Or for characters like Choyuan that got a shorter main quest, it would be nice if we got a companion quest to just hang out with him more. Maybe for some characters, I can understand it's too difficult to hang out with them in their current predicament, in which case, fine. But I don't really think there's any harm in just releasing their companion quest later or something like that. I don't know, I just think it will be a nice addition to the game. I understand if they just don't do it from here, if they make a lot of story content already, but it's a nice way to flesh out some side characters, for instance. Shakona is a good example of a character that got a companion quest, but I feel like was a good choice for a character to get a companion quest. Another thing is that I would really like there to be some story-based events again. First of all, Wuthering Waves has a skip button, so if you don't care, you can just skip it, so that's already one thing. And another thing, I feel like it would really help with the issue of old characters not returning that much. Let's say Linny has no reason to come back into the main story anymore. They can just put her in like a Lahai Roy event where she's helping us out with something, and people who don't care can just skip it. It's a fun little way to just bring back some old characters, revisit old locations even, and just kinda dilly-dally with some old units a bit. It's really harmless, and I personally think it would make me more excited for main version events. As it currently stands, there are usually just gameplay events, which is perfectly fine too, and I personally don't expect them to change this at this point, because they're probably just going to continue the way they have been going, and once again, this is a little bit greedy maybe, because they do already make a lot of story content per patch, so fair enough if they decide not to do this, but I'm mostly thinking of how they executed Shangli Yao here. Now, the issue is that his companion quest is forever locked behind an event that people have missed if they weren't around for that time, which is unfortunate. However, now we have permanent events, and I just think it would be a fun addition. I don't really think it would be groundbreaking or anything, but I do think it would be nice. Do I think they're going to do it? Probably not, but I wouldn't be against them doing it. I really think that it would be a nice little harmless addition and people could just pass on it if they don't care. But it's not the end of the world if we don't get this. It would be nice to see it at least once though. And then finally, I left this point to the end because I know that it's the one that is probably going to be the most controversial. I'm still going to be asking for more men. I don't think it will be the end of the world if we got 2 men per batch instead of 1. I really don't think it would be that bad to do it at least 1. Throughout the next year, there's probably going to be room for 2 character batches. If at least one of them has 2 men instead of 1, that is going to be quite groundbreaking, definitely unexpected. And I know that it's wishful thinking, and I understand that they're never going to be the priority, and that's okay. The thing is, it's a wish list. Obviously, not everything is going to come true here, and it is very much wishful thinking. And I understand that for some people, they just don't want this at all. But for me, as a female player, I do want it, and I'm just hoping that maybe it can happen. I don't think that they would make male characters at all if they had 0 interest in attracting people who like those type of characters to their game. And maybe just a little bit of fan service. I don't think it would be the end of the world, Kuro Games. I don't think it would be the end of the world. Just a little bit of fan service. All around, that kind of summarizes my thoughts for what I want for wuwa's 2026. The thing is, I have such few negative things to say about the game's actual gameplay. I feel like the only other thing that I can really throw in there as a quick bonus is can they fix the optimization in some Septimont areas and just generally focus on optimization, but that's really a nitpick. The game itself is in a state where I don't really have any gameplay-based feedback at the very least, so I really do just kinda want the story to be a little bit better, and I feel like that's pretty much all my major wishes for the game. Add more male characters, make the story a bit better, and then that's really it. Obviously, I am hoping that future negative status characters are handled a little bit better than Zoni and Cardathea, and that type of thing. I do have some general broad wishes as well, but I would say for my main ones, just give me some better story content for the main story, and give us more fleshed out side story stuff, and then just give me more men, because I like men. Shocker. So, that's really all. I'm quite satisfied with how Wuthering Waves' year went. I got a couple of my wishes, and I'm hoping that the game has a very successful 2026 and only continues to thrive. I really like Lahai Roy so far. I will make a more extensive video on it at some point, now that I've 100%ed the region. I do still have some side quests to do and the events, but otherwise I have completed the region, and it's been a really fun time. Wuthering Waves is a really good game, man. I like it a lot. I think it's very good. Hopefully this video was able to tell you my wishes for Wuthering Waves 2026. This has been Juice, signing out, and Happy New Year's Eve, everyone! And Happy New Year's Day if you're watching this in the future.